This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Whelen, also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Now, with the latest NASCAR local, regional, touring, and international racing news and views, here are Hannah Newhouse and Kyle Rickey.
Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. It is Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. I am not Kyle Rickey. I am Hannah Newhouse here in Concord. Kyle Rickey is up in Connecticut. And Kyle, we joked last week that going into this week we'd have a lot to talk about with plenty of racing on tap, but all events have changed. There was a lot canceled, but a handful of racetracks still managed to get in there racing.
So wait, you're saying you don't want to be Kyle Rickey?
No, I like having hair.
Okay, just checking.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, we thought we'd have a lot to talk about this week. The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series was slated to open. A lot of short tracks across the country were coming alive with either practice sessions for their opening night or their opening night. But unfortunately, most of those have been postponed and or canceled. So not a lot to talk about, but, we're going to make the best of whatever we have here these next couple of weeks, which isn't going to be much. I want to know how your trip to Atlanta went. Car full of MRNers cruising down 85, only to get, 30 minutes outside of the racetrack to find out you had to turn around and go home because the weekend was canceled.
Yeah, we took a lovely 8.5-hour round trip sightseeing of I-85. Yeah. It was great. A lot of bonding time. I did a lot of sleeping. I don't do well in car rides. So I did a lot of sleeping, but you know what? Great bonding time for the entire MRN crew to view the lovely I-85 interstate down to Georgia. But fortunately there were a couple tracks, like you said, that did get those racing, in Tucson Speedway being one of those, where Kole Raz found his way to victory lane on his birthday, just to add to all the excitement of being one of the only racetracks that got to race this past weekend. And we'll have him on a little bit later to talk about that win. But Myrtle Beach also raced as well. Sam Yarborough swept both double mains, followed by Will Burns in both of those. And Austin McDaniels and Justin Hicks came home third, respectively, in those mains. Hickory, though, we got to give them an A for effort. They tried. They tried to get that racing in. It was about midway through the day that the county stepped in and said, nope, we are not doing this.
Yeah, they got practice in. They got qualifying in. I think they had the first late model feature staged on the front straightaway to begin opening ceremonies. And at 6:30 that evening, it was either the local authorities or the state authorities out of Charlotte coming down saying, we're banning all events with more than 250 people, effective immediately. And that meant Hickory Motor Speedway. So until then, it was a suggestion, and Hickory put out a statement saying, use common sense, here are the guidelines, wash your hands. We've read the same type of statements from about every sporting arena and restaurant countrywide and in your local governments. But unfortunately, they got shut down, as did, every major event in North Carolina at 6:30 Saturday night. So they had to cancel the rest of their program. But I give them an A for effort. I think, again, common sense comes into play with a lot of these events. And, it is what it is.
Yeah, this is probably a bad joke, but I don't know if anyone's ever had race fuel on their hands, but that stuff will kill about anything.
Indeed. And, and then, you got the World of Outlaw guys with their fuel, and the nitro folks in NHRA saying, if we can just, fire up a little nitro, we'll be fine.
Yeah. If you've survived the Talladega infield, you're immune to anything. But
exactly.
All jokes aside, we are glad that this is being taken seriously. Unfortunately, that does mean minimal racing for us. So you guys will get to deal with me harassing Kyle for the next couple weeks on our show and cracking jokes. It'll be great, Kyle. I'm glad you're looking forward to it.
I can't wait. And I think that's something that we're going to talk about a lot in the next couple of weeks. We're going to try to get some promoters on.
Yep.
And kind of get into the weeds a little bit about not only what it takes to run one of these home tracks across the country, but what does this do to their business model going forward? And that's something I think we'll discuss here these next few weeks as all of this continues to unwind. It is a fluid situation, as we have heard about 100 times in the past couple days.
Yeah, that we have. Moving on there as well, unfortunately, some more sad news broke out of the racing world just earlier this week of a passing of another legend, in the modified world. And Kyle, Wade Kole unfortunately left too early for us in a sad situation.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. Man, if we could just reset 2020, and it's like every week it's something else. And Wade's been a part of the NASCAR Whelen modified community since 1985, when the division first came to be under the NASCAR banner as a series. Missing just 1 year, 1986. He didn't compete in any events, but he's been a competitor in the series on a regular basis since 1987. 300 plus series starts, 11th in points 2 years ago as a regular competitor. He would show up with a flatbed open trailer with single car, and he worked on the car. He drove the hauler. He might have one or two guys with him over the course of an event, maybe three if it was Bristol. One of the nicest guys in the garage, and we will definitely miss him. Competed in the full tour a year ago, and an unfortunate, apparently a home accident over the weekend claimed Wade Kole on Sunday afternoon, and he will no doubt be missed.
Our thoughts and prayers do go out to the family of Wade Kole, as well as the entire racing community, as everyone gathered to send their good thoughts to that family. But when we return here, we'll get Kole Raz dialed up and talk to him about his win this past weekend at Tucson.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, I did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen and by Hercules Tires. Here are Hannah Newhouse and Kyle Rickey.
We talked about it in the opening segment. One of the few racetracks across the country able to get in their nightly races was Tucson Speedway. And the winner from that race, Kole Raz, joins us now on the guest line. First off, Kole, congratulations on that win, and thanks for coming on NASCAR Coast to Coast.
I appreciate it, and thank you guys for having me.
Now, that win was a special one, more so, obviously, because first win of the season, but you won on your birthday. How cool is it to get to celebrate your birthday in Victory Lane?
That was pretty special. I've never had my birthday on a race weekend, and the things leading up to it, we had some family issues after losing our family pet, but, everything played out, and I was really fortunate to end the weekend like that.
Bring us through your day as a whole. It seemed to be perfect on paper, fast qualifier, heat race winner, feature winner. Looked good on paper. How was it from your seat?
It was pretty good from our seat for sure. I mean, when you sweep the weekend like that, it definitely means it was a good one. But it was a fight for the race. I raced pretty hard with my teammate, Paul Banghart, and I only ended up leading about, I'd say, 3 or 4 laps. But I guess they don't pay you in Victory Lane to lead all the laps. But it was a hard-fought battle, and I'm glad we were able to come out on top.
Now, we talked to you last season, I believe midway through the season, about what a successful season you'd had. You won the, I believe, track champion and the state championship as well down there in Arizona. Got the chance to come out here in Charlotte, but you're back with the same team this year, working with Dustin Ash. What did you guys take away from what was last year, really your first full time in late models, into this year?
We were able to take away a lot. We obviously had a successful season, taking home the state championship, and Brandon actually took home the track championship, so we had a tight battle with that. Dustin has kind of stepped away from TMI in a way, as he's taken a job at Sigma Engineering, which Preston Peltier is now working there as well. So we still, keep in touch, and he's only a phone call away on race weekends. But it's really me and my dad is basically the crew for our weekend down in Tucson. But we're still able to compete hard and be one of the championship caliber teams.
Now, this is your second event of the year at Tucson. You mentioned Preston Peltier, the winner of the Chili Willy 150 back in January. You finished third in that event. Got to be proud of how your season has started thus far with the Chili Willy podium and the win on Saturday night.
100%. That Chili Willy race was, I'd say, one of my best overall weekends. We started 12th and we were able to jump up to about 5th or 4th within the first few laps. And just being able to run against Peltier in that car that we had down in Tucson just meant a lot, and a lot of confidence gained that weekend. As obviously he's one of the best in the country, along with Derek Thorne, Bubba Pollard, but he's always there fighting everywhere he goes. So that was a really good confidence booster for us, and I feel like if it was 200 laps, maybe we could have been there at the end for him, but it was a really hard-fought battle for that podium finish.
One of the things that you've implemented into your victory lane celebrations as well is that Polish victory lap. And I know that comes from you being a part of the Kwiecki development program, remembering Alan Kwiecki, who made that Polish victory lap famous. How cool has it been to get to celebrate and be a part of the program such as the KDDP?
It's meant a lot. I've never had like a true victory celebration. So picking that out last year for our first win was just kind of special, not only for me, but I know it means a lot to that organization over there with Tom Roberts and everyone on the board. So they've told me how much it means to them. I just always want to continue that as long as possible, and doing that after each win. And it was pretty special after this weekend. We were in victory lane. We were able to hold up number 7, everyone that was down there. So got a good photo of that, and I'm sure that means a lot to them as well.
You mentioned Tom Roberts, the PR man for Alan Kwiecki back in the early to, right up until Alan's passing in 1993. Let's go back to Saturday night at Tucson. A lot of racetracks, most racetracks, in fact, across the country were closed down because of what's going on in this country right now. What precautions, if any, were taking at Tucson the other night? Did you notice much of a difference from a normal race night? Or was it just that, a normal race night?
For the most part, it was a normal race night. I was surprised on how many people in the stands, ended up coming out. I was expecting a little bit, less people coming out to watch. But there was a lot of people there. And, for meet and greet, people were handing out hand sanitizers. So that was, in a way, funny. But in all seriousness, it's a tragedy on how fast this is all spreading. And, we all got to be careful on what we're doing and upping up our sanitary game. So, other than hand sanitizer and Lysol wipes handing out, it was a normal race weekend.
Now, moving forward, assuming, and we all have our fingers crossed that we get to go racing here shortly, what does your season look like for the rest of 2020 outside of, are you just running for the full season at Tucson, or do you have anything special planned?
We got the season down in Tucson, and we just finalized a deal to run up here in the Northwest Tour for, I believe it's 6 or 8 races with Jefferson Racing, and I'm really looking forward to that, as I love working with Jeff and Jason Jefferson as well. They're a great group of people, and I know we're going to be competing for wins, hoping for a championship up there. But other than running for the seasons there, I'm hoping to hit some bigger races, maybe the Summer Showdown, just trying to pick some bigger races, if that's what I want to do. I love running local, but going to top caliber competition races is really what I want to focus on.
And we talked right before we came on the air with you and bringing you into the show about your school being shut down. What do you do now to kind of pass the time here these next couple of weeks before we hopefully get back to normal here pretty quick?
I don't know what to do with all this time on my hands. I got this week off, and then next week was our planned spring break. So I got 2 weeks to myself, and we have some online classes that we'll be taking as just over the years how technology has evolved. That's where all our homework is. And so doing that'll keep me busy. But other than that, I'm just spending time with family and, soaking in, this last weekend's results. But yeah, I'm just going to have to find something to do. Maybe go, play some basketball with my friends or something.
I think about this scenario as a high schooler, and I feel like it's a pretty good scenario. I mean, grand scheme, not really, but I think about a 2-week spring break as a high schooler, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's tough for the circumstances that what caused it, I guess, but it's almost like a pre-summer vacation, I guess, in a way. But it's definitely crazy. Definitely not what we're used to at all. But I'll take time off school any day.
Hey, there you go. Well, again, Kole, thanks so much for coming on. Congratulations on the win this past weekend. Keep those Lysol wipes around, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you guys for having me.
That was Kole Raz, the winner this past weekend from Tucson Speedway. But when we return, we'll highlight your Whelen Engineering short track.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform. Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen and by Hercules Tires. Here are Hannah Newhouse and Kyle Rickey.
Each and every week here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, we get the opportunity to highlight one of NASCAR's short tracks across the country, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. And this week, we are spotlighting Madison International Speedway out in Oregon, Wisconsin. It's actually configured of 2 racetracks. There's a half-mile asphalt on the outer track, and on the inside of it, it's got a quarter-mile asphalt track. It first opened in 1950 as a quarter-mile dirt track, which was known as Oregon Legion Speedway. But in 1963, it was paved, and the new owner built a high-banked half-mile in 1969 named Capital Superspeedway. It was home to the top Midwest drivers throughout the 1970s, including Dick Trickle. And following a closure and numerous ownership changes, the track was then converted to dirt in 1987 and renamed Impact Speedway. In 1989, it was closed and purchased in 92 and paved once again, reopening as what we now know as Madison International Speedway. In 1996, the quarter-mile track was added to the facility called the Ring of Fire, and it became a NASCAR Weekly Whelen All-American track in 2015. You may know the name Matt Kenseth. He won that track championship in 1994. Other notable track champions include Travis Kvapil and Dick Trickle. We suspect that the season will start on Sunday, May 3rd, with a $10,000 to win Joe Shear Classic for the Joe Shear Classic 200 for the ARCA Midwest Tour. Again, Madison International Speedway out in Oregon, Wisconsin. Get out and support your home tracks, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. When we return here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, we'll talk about potentially what's going on this weekend or where to check out some racing action.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform. Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen and by Hercules Tires. Here are Hannah Newhouse and Kyle Rickey.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. Unfortunately, a lot of racing has been postponed to this up-and-coming weekend, including the Cars Tour's visit to Hickory Motor Speedway, as well as just recently announced the Rattler 250 down in South Alabama has been postponed as well. Kyle, unfortunately, it's not looking like a lot of racers are going to get on track this up-and-coming weekend, but racers feel like they have to race, so they found an alternative, including some iRacing that we saw some action of earlier this week.
Yeah, and who would have ever thought that that would be the biggest race of the weekend? I think there were 25,000 people tuned in at any one time during that event. The Replacement 100 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, an event that featured a number of drivers from NASCAR's 3 National Series, along with spotters. I think there might have been a PR guy or two in there as well, some folks representing iRacing. Spotter Josh Williams picking up the win over William Byron. It was fun to watch, and I expect, and it sounds like we're going to see more of that over the course of the next week or two. Guys trying to I know Ryan Vargas is trying to put an event together for later this week, and I know the iRacing folks are working on another event similar to what we had in Atlanta last Sunday, and maybe we'll see something at Homestead this weekend.
What I appreciate about that Replacement 100, too, is A, a spotter won it, and B, you had people like Alex Bowman that were getting on Twitter saying his only goal was to finish and or wreck a couple different people that he had forementioned in those tweets. And it was entertaining nonetheless. I could probably see the frustration of some of the legitimate iRacers that wanted a good, clean race. But no, it was entertaining. I think we'll see a lot more of that. Like you said, Ryan Vargas putting one on as well. I believe that will be tomorrow, Thursday afternoon, for the Truck Series. Got some notable names in that as well. Kyle, I have a suggestion during all of this free time that we have for something that maybe you should try out.
And what is that, do I dare ask?
Learn how to drive a manual car.
You know,
you got all the free time in the world. You have no excuse.
I feel like this keeps coming up way too much on this show. It's been over a year now.
So what's your excuse? Yeah.
the NASCAR racing experience car on pit road at Daytona. I don't have an excuse.
Yeah, you should just come
nor,
down here
Nor
to
do
Charlotte.
I have a manual car or a car available to me to train on.
Well, folks, we are going to be a lack of content for the next couple weeks. If you have a manual, please feel free to reach out to our Twitter page, NASCAR Coast to Coast, and we will make sure that a video camera will sent your way so we can watch Kyle Rickey learn how to drive a manual. Or email me. Or slide into my Twitter DMs.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle.
So that's what it's come to. Hey, don't forget, we mentioned at the top of the show, Whelen All-American, or not Whelen All-American, Whelen Euro Series. Their first event in Valencia postponed, was supposed to be in April, I believe the last weekend of April. That has now been moved to later in the season, I believe in October. So their schedule getting really jumbled around over there in Europe, which is no surprise. I know Julia Landauer was supposed to fly over there, and she expressed her understanding, but also her disappointment in the same way of wanting to get back in a race car like so many other people across the country and around the world.
Yeah, definitely frustrating to see, like we said, a lot of people going to sim racing for the time being to stay behind the wheel and stay entertained here. I don't even want to look at my screen time that it shows you on your phone of how much you spend time on social media, because I know over the next couple weeks, it is probably going to be atrocious.
It will be.
Yeah.
It will be.
Kyle, you don't have an iPhone, so I don't know if your phone does that.
I don't. Maybe that's why I'm not getting your texts.
It's probably why. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Well, folks, again, thanks so much for joining us this week on NASCAR Coast to Coast. As always, I'm Hannah Newhouse, and he's Kyle Rickey. I am not Kyle Rickey, just for further clarification on that there. We will see you guys next week here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and thanks to our producers, Alexa Henry and Brian Yesowich. Stay safe out there this weekend. Stay healthy. Use those Lysol wipes, and we will talk to you guys soon.
You've been listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Whelen, also brought to you by Hercules Tires. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.